We knew each other for 10 years. We were only together for 2 years. But yes, we have a child.
A little girl.
Yes, ma'am.
How old is she?
3.
And is there an adjudicated custody order with regard to this child? You are no longer together.
Right. It's in the process.
But right now, the defendant has physical custody of the child. The defendant has physical custody of the child. And he's had physical custody of the child since when? What month and year?
It's still, the judge hasn't signed the...
No, he's had physical custody of, you left the house month and year.
I left in June of 2021.
That fell off. June 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you left, did your daughter stay with the defendant?
Yes.
That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she has been with the defendant ever since.
Yes.
Do you have visitation with her?
Yes.
When? And under what circumstances?
When I see my stepmom and father, they'll pick her up from him, and then I go over to their house.
So you have supervised visitation?
Correct.
And it's supervised by relatives?
Yes.
Who made that order of supervised visitation?
CPS did.
Child Protective Services?
Yes.
And when did they make that order? What year?
This year.
2023. Prior to Child Protective Services making the order, between June 2021 and 2023, did you have any visitation with your daughter?
Yes.
When? Regular or just...
Yes, regular.
And who set that order?
We agreed to it.
The two of you?
Yes.
What was that agreement?
After I left, about 6 months later, he would allow me to come on Mondays and pick her up. And then if I wanted her for like a weekend trip to go see my sister, he would allow her to do that with me too.
Okay. Was there a trial on the issue of custody?
Yes.
Did you testify?
Yes.
Did the defendant testify?
Yes.
Did Child Protective Services testify?
No.
Did the child have an attorney, a law guardian?
No.
At the trial? Did you have a lawyer?
Yes.
Did you have a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
That trial took place in what month?
There was no trial, Your Honor. We had got mediation, ended up doing mediation.
May I see it, please? Okay, so you have physical custody of the child and exclusive right to do most everything.
Yes, Your Honor.
With regard to the child, the plaintiff has the right to consent to a marriage for her. Well, she's only 3. And there's a supervised visits, supervised day visits for the plaintiff only. And we're going to get to the case in a minute. I'm just trying to figure this out for the purposes of the counterclaim that I have. His counterclaim that I have, one of the grounds for that counterclaim is that you claimed the child as a deduction on your tax returns for the year 2022, and therefore he lost out on a certain amount of money. Lexi's going to tell me what that was. Do you work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you work for?
I work for 3 gun ranges as a referee, and I also bartend at a bar in Houston.
You pay child support?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
I have 2 other children, so...
I didn't ask you about your 2 other children. I asked you how much do you pay for this child and child
In November, I start paying $100
So you paid 0?
Yes.
You've paid, just a second, up until now, you've paid 0?
Correct.
That's from 2021, when you left, June of 2021, until now, you've paid 0.
Yes, Your Honor.
And from the time, from June 2021 until now, the child's primary physical custody has rested with her father.
Yes, because he was not allowing me to see
I don't care whether he was allowing you or not. You go to court if you're allowing me. Who's this, the boyfriend?
my fiance.
Hi, and I'm
yes.
also a
Fiance,
witness.
boyfriend. Well, you got to be more interested in seeing your child for 6 months. Then nobody can withhold. Don't move. So let's get rid of the counterclaim first. You claimed the child as a deduction on your tax returns?
Yes, Your Honor. 'cause
You
there
had
was
no right to do that, I don't think. Lexi, tell me what the IRS says about claiming a child as a dependent.
Something about this case so far is telling me that this mama over here is a scam artist, and I'll tell you why. She has some sort of relationship with this new guy, and it's a fiance, boyfriend, whatever, and something about him is saying, slimy used car salesman. He may not be, guys, but I'm just saying he kind of looks like it. And I think you know for sure that she's doing something wrong if she's claiming her child as a dependent on her taxes when she doesn't even have custody of him. And then on top of that, she's paying child support, but is only paying $100 a month and hasn't even paid it yet. Something's not adding up here, guys. I don't know who is in charge of managing this couple's stuff, but I think that this guy right here, he's a saint because he seems to be pretty patient considering all things. Now, we're going to hear what she says about the tax thing, but I feel and I sense that she is scamming the system and she is no shame about it at all. But let's keep watching.
You claimed the child as a deduction on your tax returns?
Yes, Your Honor. 'cause
You
there
had
was
no right to do that, I don't think. Lexi, tell me what the IRS says about claiming a child as a dependent.
It's the custodial parent, which is the one that the child has lived with a greater number of nights during the year.
So far, he's the custodial parent. Do you work?
Right now, I'm disabled.
So you get disability. How much?
No, ma'am, I'm still waiting on that.
Who do you live with?
Right now, I live with my uncle.
And your daughter lives
and my
with
da-
you?
Yes, ma'am.
So who's supporting you?
Right now, I'm running out of funds, but I've been supporting us both, me and my daughter.
Okay. Lexi, does it say how much the deduction is?
Not on this side, it doesn't, but I can check.
Yeah. I think it's $2,500, but I'm not sure. While he's looking that up, Ms. Briard, what made you think that you could claim this child as a deduction on your tax returns?
There was not a custody agreement at the time, and I was trying to get her full time.
I would be trying to fix a lot of things, including the fact that I'm short and my roots grow out much sooner than I would like them to grow out, but that doesn't mean that it happens. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm trying, I was thinking. So you understood when you claimed her as a deduction on your tax returns that it was the wrong thing to do. You were not supporting her and she was not in your custody.
I did do some research on it, and so, but since there wasn't a custody agreement, we would flip-flop each year. So
Who said flip-flop? Why would you flip-flop? You're neither supporting her or does she live with you? Why in the world would you think that you were entitled to claim her on your tax returns?
you're right, Your Honor.
Of course I'm right. Hustler. Lexi, you're going to give me a figure in a second. I'm going to move on. Okay? So that's an easy for you, sir. You're going to get that money back.
Thank you.
Your claim is that you had a truck that you took. It wasn't your truck. It was a truck that was either in both your names or in just his name that you took when you left in 2021. You want the title to it.
Yes.
Okay. So in whose name is this truck?
The title doesn't have a name.
Title
from
always
the
has
bro-
to have a name. Do you have the title to the truck?
No, ma'am, it's in the broker's name still because $300 is still owed on it, which I didn't pay, so that way
Well,
she
that's a
couldn't get
lien.
Friday.
That's usually a lien. You have a number?
It's $2,000 per qualifying dependent.
Okay, great. Now, when was the truck purchased?
Purchased it in 2020, 21?
It was 2020, Your Honor.
2020.
Now, she took the truck with her when she left. Is
No,
that-
ma'am.
When did she take the truck?
She left in my Toyota 4Runner, was gone for 2 weeks, never called about our child or anything.
That was in 2020 or 2021?
When she left.
That was in 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she took the 4Runner.
Yes, ma'am.
So you had two cars. You had this truck and a 4Runner.
Yes, ma'am.
When you left in 2021, did you, yes or no, did you take the 4Runner?
Yes.
What happened to the 4Runner?
I brought it back the next night, in the middle of the night, and I left the keys in the cup holder because he had to be at work, even though I left.
Just a second. So
Sorry.
you took the 4Runner when you left, and according to you, you brought it back, and then you took the truck.
Yes.
What did you take the 4Runner for to begin with?
Because I had gone to a meeting that night and for AA, and I went to a meeting and they gave me support to leave him because he was very emotionally.
Would you please tell me what you took the 4Runner?
Because I went to the meeting in the 4Runner.
That's an answer. And you left.
Yes.
You didn't go back. You just left in the 4Runner.
Correct.
On what date?
June 27th, 2021.
Now you want to tell me what happened to the 4Runner? Be very careful. Real careful. What happened to the 4Runner?
Yes, Your Honor.
Be very careful,
Yes.
really careful.
Okay. I returned it the next night in the middle of the night. And I
In the
tried-
same condition as when you took
Yes.
In the
Yes.
same condition
As
as
it was.
when you took it.
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
returned the Forerunner
Correct.
and you took the truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Because I already had suitcases in the truck packed.
Why didn't you just take the suitcases out of the truck and put them in the Forerunner?
Because I drove the truck every day to work. He would drive the Forerunner, I would drive the truck. So that's why they were in there. But I took his car to the meeting.
So you were planning.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were planning on leaving before you went to the meeting. If you packed your suitcases and left them in the truck and then went to your AA meeting and didn't return home, then you were planning on leaving him before you went to the meeting.
Correct. I had him in there for about a month.
Well, who was using the truck? Just you?
Yes.
Well, if just you were using the truck, I still am not understanding why you took the Forerunner.
I'm not recalling that day either. I just went to my meeting and then,
You're not recalling that.
right. I just remember.
When she left, did she take the Forerunner?
Yes, ma'am. And the truck had absolutely no suitcases or anything in it. Because I had just taken it to a mechanic several days before to have I think it was the engine block looked at. No, the radiator, excuse me. They were going to have to replace it.
What happened to the Forerunner?
She left in the Forerunner, and 2 or 3 weeks later, not days, she brought it back at 3 or 4 in the morning. The valves were shot. Somebody had been running it hard all night. Basically, she drove it for, I don't know, 2 days, a week. I can't remember the amount of time, but she burned out the motor. She didn't put any oil in it or anything.
Where is that car now?
I ended up selling it for $500 because I couldn't really afford to.
Forerunner. Okay. And she took the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you want the title to the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the truck.
Yes,
Who bought the truck?
we did. We bought 2 cars in 2020 with our stimulus checks. We bought an F-150, the truck that I currently drive, and a Ford Escape that he wrecked during the freeze. And then he sold the Escape, bought the Forerunner, but he drove the Forerunner to work because his job was further than mine. So gas mileage, that's why I drove the truck.
When you returned the Forerunner, was it the next day or was it weeks later?
The next day, I have a witness.
The fiance?
Yes, he was witness to all
I
of it.
don't care what he has to say. I don't care what he says.
Okay.
I feel like this is the face you make when you realize that you might be losing the case. You bring your, let's just call him the used car salesman fiance, and Judge Judy sees right through it. She doesn't want to hear anything from him, and I think it's because why would you bring somebody who's gonna lie for you in court? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, when it comes to this case, I feel like I'm leaning on Team Dad here, and the reason why is because she seems to be not telling the truth. You can tell by her body language that she is absolutely trying to scheme her way through this, and you can just tell based on body language alone. And when you really analyze the whole case as a whole, it sounds like she's trying to hustle the system. She already got caught lying on her taxes. Guys, it's just plain and simple. My prediction is that Judge Judy's going to rule in favor of the dad here in this case, and she's not going to get the truck. But what do you guys think? Do you agree or no?
Okay. When you returned the Forerunner, was it the next day or was it weeks later?
The next day, I have a witness.
The fiance?
Yes, he was witness to all
I
of it.
don't care what he has to say. I don't care what he says.
Okay.
How much is the F-150 worth?
Is it a F-150 regular cab?
Crew cab,
Crew cab.
4-wheel drive.
I have the bill of sale right here if you want to see it.
And the mileage?
I have no clue. It's been a year she's been driving it, so
Let's put 250,000 miles on it. 22-year-old car, is that right?
yes, ma'am.
Is it a King Ranch short bed, or Harley Davidson?
Short bed. Actually, it's got a long bed, I'm sorry.
And put it in poor condition.
Poor condition.
It actually does have a brand new transmission, radio. I was rebuilding it.
As of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
For a private party, it would be between 2,400 and 5,100.
2,400?
2,400, 5,100.
Okay. Do you have the title to the car?
No, ma'am. The actual person I bought it from still has the title. It's going to be a salvage title, and they had to pay $300, and I did not do that because of this going on.
Perfect. Perfect. How much was the total cost of the car?
I think I paid $3,500 for it originally.
3,900.
39.
I'd like to see it, please. Well, he's the purchaser of the car.
Yes, Your Honor. So when I had the money to go to get the title, and I talked to the broker said I could get the title as long as Christopher comes with me and brings his ID, and we can write the title in my name, which he did agree upon. Then all of a sudden, the taxes things came up, and so he said he wasn't going to help me.
Okay. Mr. Kennard, if the plaintiff pays off the broker, which is what, $300
Yes, ma'am.
left, are you prepared to sign the title over to her?
It's not her vehicle, so why would I want to sign my title over to her?
I have text messages telling.
The only reason she has the title, period, is she blackmailed me.
No,
and
no,
I
no,
needed my
I-
child's birth.
Just what I'm asking you is, we're talking about a truck that's been in her possession now for 2 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we're here now, and I have to make a decision. Right? So far, are we correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it would seem to me smart for you to take everything that has to do with this truck out of your name.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes.
Totally. So my question to you is, once I resolve the issue of the child and the deduction for a dependent that she took erroneously in 2022, which I'm going to do, if she pays off the truck, will you consent to the title being put in her name?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a very smart thing. So that makes my life very easy here. On the counterclaim, I'm awarding the defendant $2,000 on your counterclaim, and that is for her erroneously taking the child as a deduction in 2022. Your request for the title to the truck is granted to this extent. Once you pay off the broker, I am directing the defendant to sign off on the title. We are withholding the $2,000 until that happens. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. That's the order of the court.
Your Honor, one other thing.
Yeah.
I also have toll road she's been running on it. And
Just a
she
sec.
really-
Just a sec. You mean
80 I have
tickets?
86, 82 in tolls she ran in that truck.
$86. $2,086. I didn't have to look at it. I believe you.
And then I also have the report where the demand letter where she stole the vehicle, a police report where she stole the vehicle. And the only reason she ever has any of that is I needed my daughter's birth certificate, which she refused my daughter to have.
Okay,
So
but
she
right
get
now,
rewarded.
everybody's going to have a wonderful kumbaya moment. You're going to get the money that you are absolutely entitled to that she wrongfully took, and you're going to be out of the F-150 business, which means if there are tickets on the car, they're hers. She won't be able to register it. If there are tolls on the car, they'll be hers. And if she gets into an accident, nobody can sue you.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that that's a good idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I'm not quite sure about her. $2,086, judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant being withheld until the title is cleared with your payment, yours, of $300 to the broker. Great, we're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case is now closed. Court's adjourned.
I am happy I get the truck.
I would have liked to have seen her a little bit more embarrassed since she's such a bad mother and a bad person, but all in all, at least we can put this behind us.
I wish she would have listened to a little bit more of the way he treated me and the lies that were coming out of his mouth.
She literally showed up one night at 3 o'clock in the morning and took the truck with all my tools and all my equipment in it.
How I took the car, how he didn't give me the truck. He said that I stole it. I did not. He gave it. I had text messages that said, you can have the truck.
Her little boyfriend tells her what to do, and she does it.
He's still mad that I left him 2 years ago.
It's all about her and her daughter. She has nothing to do with any of her 3 children, and she keeps coming. Every time she comes after me, she costs her daughter money, and she doesn't realize that.
I still think I had a right to because he withheld the child from me, and I was trying to get an attorney, and so that is the only reason, because I was trying to fight for my daughter and get her back.
I just hope she goes away.
I hope we can hopefully get along just for the child's sake, but other than that, I never want to see him again.
At least she'll get arrested somewhere, and I'll be done.
Well, she ended up getting what she wanted, which is the truck. But do we really think that this is going to be the end of the case? Because I feel like at the end of the day, there's more to this case than we really realize, because the children involved are going to be the ones ultimately who, again, suffer through this. Because I feel like every time this occurs, money is being thrown one way or the other. The child's going to end up losing out on that provision from that parent. And I think that at the end of the day, we need to be better as parents maintaining a cordial relationship with your ex. That's just my take on this, guys. Now, I think the judgment was fair because she only gets access to the truck and the title only if afterwards she pays the amount of money that she took on the deduction for taxes. That's a $2,000 plus the $86 of tickets that she's got to pay, plus the $300 on the title in order to get the title signed in her name. I feel like something tells me she may not end up doing this unless her new boyfriend decides to do it and step up and do something about it, but I just don't feel like she's going to. Something tells me that she's going to decide to take a different route. But anyways, y'all, I want to know what you guys think about this case. Are you on her side or his side? Because based on the evidence, I feel like I'm on Team Dad, but I want to know what you guys think because some of you think differently than I do, and I want to know. So let me know.